Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is actually taken from a ranked game. I finally got around to playing some ranked games. It was one of the initial placement matches. And in this game we're going to be looking at a team composition I have not featured yet in one of my videos. And that is a team composition that plays through Seraphine. This is a team composition that I've kind of mentally called the Seraphine clump, but that's not a very dynamic name. So for YouTube purposes, I'll probably call this the Seraphine Deathball, just because it's a more provocative video title. But this is a team comp that's been around for a couple patches now. My understanding is it originally was developed in China, and so some people have called it like the Chinese Seraphine comp, but I think we can come up with a better name than that. It basically plays through Seraphine and plays through Graves as the principal carry, and those are kind of the two most important units. Right now, we are in a Teamfight Tactics metagame where a lot of people are re-rolling units. It's kind of people are playing the game one of two ways. Either they are trying to fast 9 and play dragons as quickly as possible, play an all-dragon board, or alternatively, they are re-rolling for 1 cost, 2 cost, or 3 cost units. There's kind of one of those two play styles tends to be very dominant, either fast 9 or go to reroll some of the cheaper units. The main reason for that is all of the 4 cost units got nerfed in the most recent patch. So with all the 4 cost units being weaker in power level, you're not seeing a lot of comps that are built around 4 cost units at the moment. Oh, do I manage to buy that flag? Looks like I did. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to build an early game that's going to get me to Seraphine. I have been looking to play this team composition in part because I think it's underplayed. I looked at the data on Teamfight. Was it the Meta TFT and Tactics.tools? Those are the two websites that do a lot of the stat tracking information. And the Seraphine clump team composition, Seraphine Graves, whatever we want to call it, it's been doing quite well in the data. And it's not played very much at all. It's lightly played, but it actually is doing pretty well overall statistically. Here I'm going to take Celestial Blessing, which is a good choice for this particular team composition. Seems to do well with this because there's a lot of healing in this team composition. Also, in addition to that, you saw that Dragonmancer Conference was one of the choices, but I don't want to go for that because people are playing, at least in the games I've been running, people are playing into Dragonmancer boards, either that's Kaisa or Karma. Like, people have been super heavily playing into them, and I don't want to look to be contested or be contesting that team comp with so many other people playing it. And in fact, there's going to be like 2 or 3 other people playing either Kaisa or Karma, some combination of them. And see, there's someone playing Kaisa. Oh, look, there's another person playing Kaisa as I'm scanning the lobby. Someone playing Astrals. Another person, one person playing Darklight. Another person playing Kaisa. Another person playing Karma. I think there's 4 people playing Dragonmancer boards in this lobby. I think I actually predicted that the Shimmer Scale Kaisa would be everywhere when I did a video on that. I did that video on the first day of the patch, and lo and behold, 3 days later, that build was absolutely everywhere. Anyway, so to come back to the point I was getting to before, the Seraphine plus Graves team combination, not played that much, certainly not as much as these other boards, but doing well in the data. And when a lot of people are re-rolling for units, it becomes easier to play other reroll team compositions. So I don't really like the whole go to 9 and play dragons board. You might say, oh, well, you usually like boards. You usually don't like playing reroll compositions, as I narrowly lose this round to Karma. Normally, I'm someone who likes to play team compositions that are more based on increasing, getting to higher levels, playing higher tier units, not re-rolling for units. The problem with the Fast 9 Dragon compositions is you don't have enough econ to get them unless you play super greedy from an economic perspective. So it's actually quite difficult to play them unless you're high rolling to like a crazy degree and you're just win streaking. But most of the way people are playing, going to level 9 and playing the Dragon boards, is they're just deliberately loss streaking and tanking tons of damage for more econ, and then hoping that they can stabilize on their dragon boards on like 20 HP. That is typically how most people are playing those boards, and that's really not my playstyle either. I don't like playing that riskily in terms of health. So that's why I have not been going for those particular boards. It's just, it actually turns out to be a very risky way to play the game if you're going to try to fast 9 and just like lost streak and open fort and whatnot to get enough economy to get there. Because if you're actually rolling enough to stabilize your board, then you're probably not going to be able to make it to those dragon comps unless, again, you're just high rolling really hard. Okay, anyway, well, I won the first round, or excuse me, I lost the first round, and then the second round it looks like I'm going to win narrowly. Probably would be better to have another narrow loss there, in all honesty, but that's okay. I'm okay with this. I'm not too upset. The unit I was most looking for was Zac, so as soon as I found the Zac, that's going to be great. Now I can finally get Lagoon Trait in, and that's going to allow me to play this board. I'm really lacking in damage right now. I went ahead and made a Sunfire Cape specifically because my board was lacking in damage. I wanted to take a rod off the initial carousel. I did not get a rod. Instead, I was able to grab a belt. The reason for that is the core items on Seraphine are Morello's. That is obviously rod plus belt. And the other key item on her is Spear of Shojin. So you really want to try to get those two items on her if you can. The third item can be kind of whatever. So I definitely wanted to get either a rod or a belt to start because I wanted to get the Morellos. But I wasn't able to get the rod, so I took a belt. Then I ended up getting another belt to drop. And I decided that I would use that to make a Sunfire Cape. Now watch, this is really sad. I do not kill anything in this fight. Look how close I am to killing the front line. That would have been nice to take less damage. Did only survive with 5 hit points. So yeah, I take 2 extra damage on that. I was like, ugh, that's disappointing. That's pretty disappointing. To have a unit survive on 5 HP. And you never know, that extra health can sometimes make the difference at the end of the game. So my board is really lacking in damage. I've made the Sunfire Cape specifically just to try to preserve health here. I don't want to have... I still have another belt left over for a potential Morellos. And I want to make sure that I am getting some use out of these items right here. So I was going to take the rod for Morellos. And I was like, oh, man. Okay. All right. There's literally 2 people who picked before me, and one of them runs completely across the carousel just to take that rod. That would have been Morello's on a 3 gold champion. Now, making the Sunfire is kind of wasted in this team composition because I'm planning to make Morello's later on anyway, but like, what else am I going to do with belt plus vest in the early game? I have to do something with that in the early game, so I might as well, you know, if I can't do anything else, I might as well make the Sunfire because it will help preserve health in the early game, and that could be important. Anyway, for the moment here, I have, what is it I've done? I've go ahead and put in the Rakan. I think that's probably, well, I was going to say that's maybe a mistake. We don't really want to run 3 Guardians here, but what else am I going to play on this board? I could play the Senna to get Cannoneer in play, and yes, you do want the Zeri, so I don't mind having the Zeri here early on. I could play that unit for Cannoneer, but then I'd have to take out something else. Maybe I could take out the Rakan. That might be better. Actually, that might be better. Although Rakan is a significantly better unit than Senna, so I don't know. It's hard to say. I do have a Talia in there just randomly. Talia does not fit this team composition, but I randomed my way into a 2-star Talia, so I will just have her hold Seraphine items for right now until I can find Seraphine. It's not like she applies... I was going to put Morellos on her, although I didn't get to make it. It's not like she applies Morellos especially well, but it would at least give her some additional ability power. We also have Lagoon Trait in, so we will start getting the Lagoon stacks. That's nice. We are not going to stack up Lagoon especially quickly, but getting some Lagoon stacks, of course, is not terrible. Again, I don't feel like my board is anything special right now. Basically, I'm just trying to preserve health and try to get as much economy as I can en route to trying to play Seraphine, who I'm already pretty confident no one in this lobby is playing that because everyone in the lobby seems to be playing Dragonmancer units or Astral units right now, including some people lost streaking pretty badly. My sequencing is not good here. I have gone loss, win, so I'm not getting any money in terms of economy that way. And I'm also kind of poor because I have been playing some rather expensive units. 2-star Talia, 2-star Leona, and then I have an additional, I have 2 Rakans. That actually does eat up quite a bit of gold this early in the game to be holding 2 different 3-cost units. It's pretty expensive, but you know, I do want Rakan in this team comp. This is a board that honestly wants to try to 3-star Rakan later on if possible, so I definitely will hold those units. Long term, I will be dropping Leona. By the way, there we get drops from the first Lagoon Ore. But long term, we'll be dropping Leona. I definitely want to play her though right now because she is my only 2-star frontliner. And oh, hello. This is an awesome shop. I actually get double Seraphines here. Oh my god. And I get a Zyro, who's a unit I'm going to want to play. And I get a Neela as well. I can't really use Neela in this team composition, but you know what? I can put her on the board for 1 round. Why not? It's a minion round. Although in retrospect, it's going to turn out I probably just should not have picked up this unit because it costs 4 gold, and that actually going to leave me short of hitting 20 gold on this minion round breakpoint. I should have just not bought the Neela because I was not going to be playing her in this team composition. So like now I could sell the Zeri to raise 3 gold, but of course I don't want to sell Zeri because I need her to play alongside Graves. So yeah, I should not have bought the Neela. I kind of had her in there because I thought she would get me more Lagoon stacks with her ability, but no, that's not quite what I wanted there. So look, I get Elise in and I sell, but then I'm on 19 gold because I can't sell the Neela. I was like, whoops. I guess I could sell the Zyra, but I want to play that unit too. All right, well, that was a bit of a mistake. So let's go ahead and we'll sell the Neela. Also going to put these items on. Now, unfortunately, I get another tier, and getting another tier is not terrible. It could later on be a Chalice. It could later on be an Archangel's, but I cannot combine these two together into a blue buff. Making a blue buff is going to be useless here because Seraphine's mana cost is extremely high. She has been nerfed in, I can't remember which patch it was, but they have nerfed her a couple of different times. And her mana is, I'm going to pull up the cheat sheet right here. I actually thought I had it open, but I probably closed it before I went to record this video. Her mana cost is 175 at the moment. So yeah, blue buff's not going to do anything with a mana cost that high. She needs the Shojin so that she will get additional mana on auto attacks. As I said, the blue is not going to do anything. I would actually like to level and put in Zyra here, but I am not on much of a win streak. I'm on a minor win streak here. What is it? I won 2 rounds in a row, but if I leveled, I'd go all the way down to 10 gold. That is not worth it at this point in time. Oh, unfortunately, I do not quite get another attack off there. Seraphine was about to get her ult off. I don't think I would have won that round even if she got another ult off, but once again, sadly, I'm not able to go on any kind of win streak or lose streak. All right, some interesting choices. Initially, I thought Jeweled Lotus, magic in your abilities can critically strike, but then I see, oh, wait a minute, there's actually the Threes ability. What is that? I can't remember the name of that. It was just on screen, but I missed it. And it's the one where all of your 3-cost units gain additional health, additional attack speed, and I think they get additional attack damage and additional attack AP, something along those lines. So I definitely am going to click on that because this is a team comp that plays through 3-cost units. So we're not going to play Silas long term. We'll replace him with Pantheon. Although actually with this augment, I probably should have played Silas. You know, in retrospect, I probably should have just played the Silas because this augment increases all the stats for 3-cost units, and then I could have rerolled for him too. Oh well, but this is a team comp that plays through 3-cost units. Seraphine first, and then Rakan, and then Zeri. So you got a lot of 3-cost that you'll be rerolling for. So this is actually a pretty good augment to have for them. Okay, so now I kind of have the core framework of this team in play. 3 Lagoon, 2 Whisper, 2 Mystic, 2 Guardian, 2 Evoker. So we want the Zyra in there because she's going to put Evoker trait in play for Seraphine. We're going to play Silas at least temporarily, so we get Whisper's trait in. That's going to get the armor and magic resistance shred on the enemy team. And then we've got Zeri in there for Lagoon trait along with Zac. And then we pick up the Guardian trait with Rakan. And we also pick up the Mystic trait with Rakan as well. So this is kind of the core framework of our team here. And then, wow, look at this shop. I'm going to end up hitting Zac 2-star and Zyra 2-star. So now we're actually hitting pretty good here. And I've been able to hit a couple of 2-stars for my team. There it is, Triforce 3. I actually highlighted it here. Anyway, this is a good time to go ahead and cover Seraphine's actual ability. I will read the formal ability description while we've got a minute here. Her traits are Evisker. She has 3 traits, Evoker, Mystic, and Lagoon. Her ability is called Serenade of the Seas. As I said, it costs 175 mana, so it's an expensive ability. Seraphine sings a Serenade of the Seas, granting a shield and bonus damage per attack to all allies within 2 hexes for 4 seconds. So her ability grants a shield and bonus damage per attack to allies within 2 hexes for 4 seconds, just to repeat that. So whenever she casts, you will see she puts a shield on everybody nearby. It's about to go off. There we go. And they get additional damage on their auto attacks. So this is an ability that was really, really busted earlier in testing on the public beta environment, PBE. Her ability actually stretched out to 3 hexes, not 2 hexes. And they've actually nerfed the numbers a number of times. They've increased the mana cost more than once, and they've downgraded the benefit as far as the amount of shield and the amount of additional damage on auto attack. So this unit has been pretty overtuned on a number of different occasions. All right, so it is now my turn to pick off Carousel. I'm all the way down to 3rd pick, but fortunately I'm going to get one of the items I wanted. I really needed either a rod or a sword. There's no sword available, but I am able to get the rod, thank goodness. So now I will be able to put a Morelos on Seraphine. Okay, so why is the Morelos so key to Seraphine? Well, remember, she puts additional damage on auto attacks on the champions near her for 4 seconds. If she has a Morelos, that true damage burn effect applies to everyone that she gives the shield to. So they're not only will be dealing the additional damage on attack, they also will apply Morelos onto everybody that they do that with as well. So it's one of her core items, and it makes her very effective against any team comp that has a lot of healing, because basically everyone in the team will be applying Morelos with their auto attacks and be getting that true damage burn. So very, very nice to have. Now, a team composition that doesn't do so well against, or that Seraphine does not do so well against, is an assassin-based team composition like this. This is a Dark Flight team that's playing through Assassin Rengar. And you can see part of the reason why this doesn't really work that well. Number one, the assassins get in the back lines and start killing the squishy carries. That is not what we want. But also what happens is my front line runs forward, and as soon as that happens, they're not getting the benefit of Seraphine's shield. Like, Zac is way too far forward in this fight. He is not getting Seraphine's shield, and he's not getting the additional damage on auto attacks there. At least he manages to kill one more unit there. But the positioning against these kind of teams is not great. And I realized right away that this is not a team comp that I do well against. By the way, I get just a tremendous round there. I get the third Seraphine and then double Zeri. So in a flash, I've kind of managed to 2-star most of my board. Everything except the Rakan and the Silas. But Silas is going to get dropped anyway. What I want to do in terms of setting up this team is I want to get to level 7. At level 7, I get to play another unit, and that will be Graves. Graves will give me another Cannoneer, and Graves will give me kind of a secondary carry. Right now, I don't really have a key secondary carry. Normally, one of the things you could do is play another Cannoneer and put Graves items on them. So, like, you could play a Felios and put Graves items on them. You could play Senna and put Graves items on Senna, etc. Obviously, there's an Aphelios right there. I probably should have held on to that potentially until I can find Graves. But you need Graves because you need another damage source. Like, Seraphine's not going to do that much damage on her own. You really need another attack damage unit. And so Graves is really good at making good use of the shield, making good use of the additional damage on auto attacks. By the way, this is a super close fight, but I am able to win. The bad thing is, look at the pattern again. I went loss, win, win, loss, win. I just cannot get out on any kind of a streak here in this lobby. Good news is the first Lagoon item that came out of the seashell, you get an item component at 80 stacks. Turns out to be a sword, and that's what I needed. I needed a sword for Spear of Shojin, so I get pretty lucky there again. So I'm definitely having good luck. Up to this point in time, I'd say this game's been a pretty clear high roll. I am only on stage 3-7, but I have Seraphine 2-star. I also have the, Zyra 2-star, Zeri 2-star, and a Zac 2-star. So I've been hitting a lot of these units here. I'm not especially rich because I can't get on a win streak of any kind whatsoever. But I'm still in pretty good shape here. And now I'm going to find an Aphelios, so I'm going to go ahead and level to 7. And then I can start putting some of these Graves items on Aphelios. I could make an Infinity Edge. I don't really want to make an Infinity Edge, though. It's not a great item on Graves. I mean, it's playable, but it's not great. Instead, I have this leftover Tear, and then I have this leftover Glove. And I was like, you know what is a good item on Graves? How about Hand of Justice? A very good item on Graves, just because he is such short range. He's going to be up in the face of the enemy teams, so he can really make good use of getting that additional healing. And additional Omnivamp, additional healing, that sort of thing. All right, now here's a fight where positioning is fantastic for us. Note how the entire team is getting the benefit of Seraphine's shields. Now that she has the Shojin, she is going to be casting much more often. So she's going to get off another shield, and that means we're going to keep putting the Morelos burn on this team. I'm up against this person who has not lost a single time yet. They have a Karma with Jeweled Lotus. For some reason, they made a Jeweled Gauntlet, even though they had Jeweled Lotus. They probably had already made the probably already made the Jewel, the Gauntlet, and then they got Jeweled Lotus after that. Probably. I want to give them some credit there. But it was close. I almost beat them. I hadn't beaten them yet, and I finally managed to beat them there. All right, the last augment I'm going to take is High Tide. It is your Lagoon units attack slower, but they generate 12 mana per second until they cast twice. This is an excellent augment for Seraphine because she doesn't really care about attacking slower. She doesn't really care about auto-attacking. For her, it's all about just casting faster. And the other Lagoon units don't really care about that much either. Zac is a tank, and Zeri is not the primary damage dealer in this team composition. She kicks in a little extra damage, but she's not really that key. So it's been a kind of an odd game thus far in the way that I keep ping-ponging between wins and losses. Like, I'm never strong enough to get out to a big win streak, but like I'm also not weak enough that I go on a big loss streak. So as I said, this has been kind of not ideal in terms of that sequencing. A word about positioning. This is kind of the default positioning for Seraphine's comp is Zac in the front, then Rakan, and usually Pantheon, once you get Pantheon right behind. Seraphine in the third row, and then the Cannoneers and Zyra in the back row. Graves, of course, will immediately start dashing forward, but it's good to keep him in the back row so you can put any aura items on him. So the reason for that is basically, again, just so more people are getting the benefit of Seraphine's shields, because like you want her to be shielding as many units as possible. Also, this fight's pretty close. This person is playing Karma with the Gambler's Blade there. But yep, so when there's this many people rerolling for Karma, somebody's not going to hit, and that person is the one who's not hitting at the moment. So yeah, that person is not doing so great there. Anyway, I've finally gotten back to 50 gold, so now I can look to maybe start... I guess I do have a choice here. I could look to try to go to 9 and try to play Dragons, but I did want to try to reroll this team composition. I also make a mistake here. I was trying to think, Aphelios is not really doing much of anything in this comp. Maybe I could play a different unit than Aphelios. And then I was like, oh, cool, I'll just put in Lee Sin, because Lee Sin can hold these items. Maybe not well, but he can hold these. And then I put him in, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Putting in Lee does not pick up Tempest trait. I get Tempest when I play Graves, and I don't have Graves yet, so probably should have kept Aphelios on my team. By the way, what was the Mirage trait? I just highlighted it, but here on the replay I did not catch it because it's been a little bit since I actually played this game. Oh well. Anyway, this is another fight that's close, but this person does have a Deja that's pretty well itemized, and it does not look like I'm going to be able to win this one. So, yeah, what you're seeing here is I really need to find Graves because I need another damage dealer. Seraphine alone does not do enough damage, and that is one of the weaknesses of this comp. You need another damage dealer. Seraphine is ultimately still a support unit. She's a very good support unit, but ultimately she is not a damage dealer in her own right. She is someone who unlocks the rest of the team. And I actually do have pretty good items for Graves, but I don't have Graves himself. At least not yet. There is a Graves on this carousel. Now, I'm last pick again, so I was like, oh, come on. Is anyone going to take a Graves with a sword? Am I actually going to get this unit? Well, shockingly, I am going to get this. No one took a Graves with a sword? Okay. I guess everyone is playing Dragonmancer board, so they want AP items, not AD items. And I am happily going to take that. So, all right, great. We'll just take this. I also make 6 Zyras, so I guess I'll just hold that unit for right now. No, I don't need to play 2 Zyras. I need to play Graves. Let's get him in there. There we go. So I'm definitely going to put the Hand of Justice on him. I also have too many swords now. I don't want to make a Deathblade on Graves. And I'm going to get a Rod. So, okay, that's not bad. We can put that on Seraphine. And that'll get us something. And now I will start re-rolling here. I'm looking for Seraphine. I do find Pantheon, so we'll just play him over Silas. So that's great. And now we can stop here, and our team has gotten a lot stronger. So this is the core of the comp, these 7 units. The Zac, and then, Zac, Pantheon, Rakan for your front line. Seraphine is the core holding it together. And then the Zeri, Zyra, and Graves for your back line. And that is the core of this team composition. Graves is the big damage dealer alongside the Seraphine. And once it all comes together, it's pretty strong. So I should be strong here for the moment. And then I should be good for the rest of stage 4, but then will start to fall off if I'm not able to start 3-starring some of these units. By the way, look at my win-loss pattern for this stage again. Loss, win, loss, win. I just could not get on any kind of a streak. So what am I looking for? Again, there's a Yasuo, but I can't. No, not going to play that here. I'm going to try to just roll here at 50 gold and just see if I can find more of these 3-cost units. Obviously, I'll pick up Graves and Pantheon if I see them, but I'm really rolling for Seraphine, and that means also picking up Rakan and Zeri at the same time. I'm scouting these other boards. I'm seeing that there are an awful lot of 3-costs out of the pool, so I think I should be able to hit. I hit the Seraphine 2-star very quickly, but on that roll down there, I did not find any more Seraphines, which is slightly disappointing. But anyway, we'll see. Actually, Zeri got off a really good ult there. She hit like the entire enemy team with that boosted damage. And we also were able to apply the Morelos to everybody. Also, look what comes out of the second Lagoon Orb. So 80 stacks is your first item component. 140 is your second item component. Well, I got the Sword for Spear of Shojin. And then I got another Rod here. So if I can't do anything else with this, this could be a death cap at the very least. But I decided I would at least hold and see what I got on Treasure Dragon. I might want to put a Rage Blade on Graves. It's not an amazing item on him, but it's not bad. And yeah, we'll just see. I could also always make Gunblade on Seraphine too. All right, and I see this, and I was like, oh, well, okay, this works for me. Yeah, that works. There's a Radiant version of Hand of Justice, which is a great item for the Graves. So we'll make the Fist of Fairness to start. Let's go ahead and grab that. Extra attack damage, ability power, and Omnivamp. The Omnivamp's really big for Graves because he's such short range. Then we'll make Giant Slayer, and then I can make a Zeke's Herald, and then I can make a Death Cap. Boom, done. That was an amazing treasure dragon. It got me tons of excellent items there. Now here's the problem. This roll down, not so great, and I am going to finally start picking up some of these 3 costs. I might as well just take a couple more of them out of the pool. There's another Zeri. And then I'm going to sell to try to get back to... Do I sell to try to get back to... No, I wanted to roll a little bit more. I thought I'd roll down to 30 here. I was like, oh, man. At 0 Seraphines? Really? Like, 0? What? So, yeah, I rolled down to 30. I did not find any Seraphines. And I was like, oh. Ooh. That was a lot of gold to roll and hit 0 Seraphines. I mean, I did get up to, what, 7 Rakans? And I guess I picked up 1 Zeri. But, man... There's so many 3 costs that are out of the pool right now. And to not hit even 1 Seraphine is pretty shocking. So yeah, man, that was not good. That was not what we were looking for from RNG. Also something we're not looking for. Graves ended up getting popped very quickly in this fight. And that's bad because we really need his damage. And we're going to have enough shielding to survive against the Alshin. And looks like we actually are going to manage to win this round. So that is someone who was very rich. I think that's the player who win streaked for like the first 10 rounds of the game. They're already level 9 and they're trying to put together their dragon board. So yeah, they were doing exactly what I said, just fast 9, but they were actually in a position to do it because they were so strong throughout the early game. I actually have the most health in the lobby right now, which is just bizarre. I don't feel like I'm especially strong here at all. So I'm just going to pause here, try to get back to 50 gold, maybe roll again after the carousel. I don't just want to roll down to 0 gold. If I do that, then I'm never going to hit. But, man, and I'm like looking at these other boards, I was like, like there's a lot of Nunus out of the pool. One person's playing Nunu, another person's rerolling for Olaf. So, like, I should be able to hit here, right? And then there's people who are playing Dragon Master, so they're taking Lee Sins out of the pool. And, like, someone just hit 3-star Rengar. I was like, come on, there's so many 3 costs out of the pool. I should be able to hit. Like, this should not be that hard to find the Seraphines. Anyway, so here's another person who's playing a Dragon board. Again, you can see they are... Actually, I was going to say they're low on health, but they're not actually that low. We need to get through the front line and then try to kill the Aurelian Soul that's in the back line. The good news is these people playing the Dragon boards, they're still playing 1-star dragons. And honestly, I would not suggest going to a full Dragon board if you're playing all 1-star dragons. I actually think you get yourself in a lot of trouble that way. But this is a game that's at like high gold, low platinum when I'm in these placement matches here. By the way, here we go, finally. That's a much better store. Finally going to get a Seraphine and another Rakan. That's actually 8 Rakans now. So I would love to hit 3-star Rakan. He actually does get quite a bit stronger when he hits 3 stars. And I also see another Graves. So right now, if I could hit Graves 2-star, that would actually make a very large difference as well. Just because it would give him so much more survivability by increasing his base health. But like, yeah, I'm looking at these boards. So many units that are, what are they called? So many 2 or 3 cost units out of the pool here. And like this person's rerolling for Olaf and rerolling for Diana. So they're taking tons of 3 costs out of the pool. And that's why I didn't look to fast 9 this game. I thought I could get to 3-star Seraphine without too much trouble. Bad news is this is an assassin board. Once again, I've mentioned the default positioning I'm using for these board fights does not work against assassins. The vertical line works well against normal front-to-back team compositions, but it just gets absolutely exploded by assassins. And I was still new enough to playing this team comp that I didn't have a great feel for that. So this is a team composition where I really do need to reposition if I know I'm going to be up against an assassin board. Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm going to be up against an assassin. There's no way to know that ahead of time when there's like 3 different comps I can hit in the lobby. But I was trying to think about that as the game went on. So there are some decent options here. I actually wouldn't have minded taking the Guardian emblem. I'd turn Pantheon into a Guardian, and then at level 8, I'd play 4 Guardians. Can also take a Lagoon emblem as well, but out of these choices, I'm going to take the Static Shiv because it's another magic resist debuff. I'll put that on Zeri, and then she can debuff the magic resistance. Obviously, we have Whisper's trait to help with that, but I believe that they both stack, if I remember correctly. All right, so we're rolling here. Again, I'm trying to roll slowly because I don't miss anything. And then I do hit a Seraphine. All right, we're up to 6 Seraphines. So now I do want to roll a little bit more so I can try to hit this. And oh, okay, there's more Seraphines, but oh, I'm out of bench space. I cannot sell the Graves. We'll sell the Zeri, even though that is a 3 cost out of the pool. Now I'm like, come on, come on, come on. Can I hit this? Come on. Ah. So I'm going to stop here for the time being. But like, look at this. I'm on 8 Seraphines. Again, I was confident I could find the Seraphines. The sad thing is I cannot get, I want to pick up this Zyra because it's going to take me to 8 Zyras, but there's no bench space. I can't drop the Graves. Graves 2-star is too important. I need to find Graves 2-star, so I cannot sell that Graves. But the sequencing here is just so frustrating. Like if I had hit one more Rakan, then you know, I'd be able to actually pick up the Zyra here. But no, gonna come up short. And like once again, this fight's close, but I'm gonna lose this one as well because again, I'm missing these units. At least I got back to 20 gold because I got a Lagoon drop, but I cannot pick up the Zyra. There's no point in locking the store. I don't have bench space, so just need to hit these units. I'm close, and oh, there it is. Okay, well, I can't complain. Like, it is good that I hit this unit, but now I'm going to pick up the Zyra, so now we're back to 8, and I'll pick up the Zeri, and I'm going to roll it down. Can I find this last unit? And there we go, finally, but look, I did have to roll all the way down to 0 gold. Still, we did hit. We did finally manage to hit. And now I will try to get to level 8 so I can play another unit because I'll have better odds to find Graves. Graves, what do you call it? Graves 2-star at level 8. The odds will go up there. It's a little disappointing I didn't manage to find another Graves. No one is playing Graves in this lobby, and I've only seen 2 of them. That's pretty unlucky, but I did hit the 3-star Seraphine, so I can't complain too much. All right, well, now I have 3-star Rakan and 3-star Seraphine, so that means I just win all the rounds, right? Right, well, look what happens in this fight again. There are 2 people playing these Dark Flight comps that are playing through Rengar in this lobby. And whenever I'm hitting them, I'm having these really bad results. It's actually kind of unlucky to have 2 assassin boards in the lobby. So again, my comp is very strong front-to-back team fight, but it struggles against these assassins. Also, take a look at how close this lobby is. 34, 25, 21, 21, 21, 19, and 4 health. Man, this is a tight one. Well, while we've got a second here on the minion round, I do want to read the what happens to Seraphine when she gets 3-starred. So her shield amount is 220 base at 2-star, and it goes up to 300. So that's a big increase. It's a little less than a third. Actually, no, I'm doing the math wrong. It's almost 50%, 220 to 300. The damage per attack is more significant, though. She has 35 damage per attack at 2-star, and it goes to 65 per attack at 3-star, so almost double. So that's the real big advantage of 3-starring her. And of course, she has the death cap, so that gets magnified by the death cap and the Spear of Shojin and the Morellos. So all those numbers go up, of course, magnified by the ability power that she has. All right, well, now I really have to focus on positioning. I got a Protector's Vow there. That's going to be a good item on Pantheon. I'll just slap that on him. Unfortunately, there are 3 different teams that I could be up against, and I am just praying that if I hit this Dragonmancer team comp, that they are not going to move their Shroud. One of the big weaknesses of this team comp is it is very vulnerable to Shroud of Stillness. And, oh, I am up against the Dragonmancer team, but they did not reposition their Shroud of Stillness. Looks like they, wait, how did they get that item anyway? Well, I guess they had that item, and they just did not bother. I thought for a second they had it from Binary Airdrop, but no, that's not the case. Anyway, so yeah, they did not position that Shroud, but as it turns out, it doesn't matter anyway. I take a bad loss, and I go down to 6 HP. All their 3-stars were just too much, so I was like, oh man, that's also not good. So now I'm down to my last life. And this is, again, a very tight lobby, but I could easily go out in 6th or 7th place. I'm like, well, down to my last life, all we got to do is just roll for Graves, and fortunately I hit it. So I needed to hit Graves 2-star, and I do. I cannot afford to just sit there and try to econ up to level 8. I had to roll there to hit Graves. Absolutely had to. The good news is I know who I'm up against. I'm up against this person, GG Lubri, the person who, again, was win streaking all throughout the early game and is playing a Dragon's board. So I was like, all right, well, I actually think I'm going to lose this round because they have 2-star Al Shin back there. But all I can do is just position for this fight and just hope it goes well. Now, here's the saving grace for this fight for me. Their tank dragons are all 1-stars. They have 1-star Idis and 1-star Terra. And my teammate's actually going to punch to the front line very quickly. The other good thing is the Al Shin does have a blue buff, does not have a Shojin. And blue buff is almost useless on that unit. It really does not speed up the casting much at all. So by the time this unit actually casts, we've actually killed the entire team. So I was like, ooh, wow, okay. Okay, we actually managed to win that fight, and having Graves 2-star made a tremendous difference. The Giant Slayer was really good against that team, just because Giant Slayer means that he gets the bonus damage against high health targets. Now, I have just enough gold to reach level 8, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to roll to 8 and go there, because, again, I'm on 1 life. If I lose another round, the game's over. And now I can see that I am potentially going to be up against these assassin boards. So I was like, all right. Let's try this. We're just going to box in the corner because I am really struggling with these assassins. Let's just box everybody in the corner, and that way Rengar cannot get on Seraphine, and hopefully this will allow us to win the fight. Well, turns out the joke's on me. I'm not actually up against one of the assassin boards, but it was still correct to position as though I were, because otherwise, if I had been and I hadn't been positioned in the corner, I think I would have just died instantly. Look at Graves. He goes really low, but he's still surviving just barely. Oh, this fight is close. And Graves, again, heals all the way back up to full. And wow, that is such a close fight. I was not expecting to win that fight either when I realized I was not up against one of the assassins. But Graves absolutely clutches that out. Seraphine is getting her shields on the entire team. And hey, look at that. Actually, going to be top 4 at the very least. So wow, I'll take that. Now, there's a couple of interesting things here. There's a Chalice, and the initial first instinct would be grab the Chalice because you want to buff up Seraphine. You want to put a Chalice on her so that, we could put the Chalice on Zeri, and then we get the additional ability power on Seraphine. But this is a late game scenario. There are only 4 of us in the lobby, and there's not much left in this game. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the Zephyr. Late game Zephyr is too valuable not to take it. By the way, and then there's a Bard in the store. So I was like, do I want to play 2-star Lee Sin or Bard? It's like, I think I want to play Bard. Bard gives me Mystic trait. That has to be better, getting the 3 Mystic. There's a lot of magic resistance on these teams. Look at that. There's that one Dragon team that I beat the last time, but I'm still a little bit worried about being up against them. So I'm going to go ahead and look to position. I was going to put Bard out there, but then I was like, no, I actually want to keep Bard in a safe position. So I'm going to stick Zyra out here and then put the Zephyr on her. I was trying to be in a position where I could hit either Rengar or the Ao Shin, depending on which comp I was up against. I don't end up getting the Ao Shin. I don't end up getting the Rengar, but I do hit the Swain on the other team, and that's pretty good. All right, Bard is going to get off a really clutch ultimate. Right as Rengar jumped in on Seraphine, Bard's going to freeze him in place for a couple of seconds. And we were able to delay Rengar getting, or not Rengar, we were able to delay Swain getting into this fight. So, it's close, but it looks like we're just barely going to be able to win this one. And so I'm going to win, and they're going to take damage instead of me. And now we're down to just the 3 of us in the lobby, all of us on single-digit HP. So I'll roll here, but I don't really see anything. The good news is I know who I'm up against. I'm up against this Darkflight player, and I was like, ooh, okay. Okay, well, we want to get the Rengar if possible. The Rengar is definitely more dangerous. I was like, how do I get the Zephyr on this Rengar? I was like, oh, I just reversed the formation. So we're going to reverse the entire formation, swap everything over to the other side, and now we can have the Zyra hit the Rengar, assuming this guy doesn't move, which he 100% should. But does he move? Does he bother to dodge the Zephyr? Nope. And that is a player who is not paying attention. Also sitting there with 50 gold in the bank. Probably a mistake to sit there with that much gold in the bank when you're on 1 life. But hey, I'm not complaining. So we're going to take Rengar out of the fight. He never dives into the back lines. Seraphine gets her shield off. Bard gets his ult off. Graves is doing Graves things. And I think we got this one. I think we've got this. So yeah, Rengar can jump around, but he's never going to kill my whole team. So he's going to get taken out. So that's another player out of the lobby. And oh, his ghost apparently took out the dragon player. So that's it. GG. I'm going to win the lobby on 6 HP in a very tight game. Yeah, this one was tough, but I honestly think the main reason why this game was so close is I had such poor luck at finding Seraphine when I was rolling at level 7. Now, I did hit her eventually, but it took a long, long time. Longer than I think it should have, given how many 3 costs were out of the pool. So a little bit unlucky there. And it's also sad I never hit the last Zyra. I got stuck on 8 Zyras this game, but oh well, whatever. So this was a fun one. I hope you enjoyed watching the Seraphine clump. I've been having some success with this in my games because it's not being played much, and I'm going to keep fiddling around with this one. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, folks.